lights go out. Fear not, I had descended before you even knew. I only told them I love you. The smile you see, can't comprehend it, but I died too long ago. So every time I start the show, I drop the act and away I go.
Broken hand.
This time I'm coming back. This is the king of the crowd. As he holds up the crown, there's no more looking down. Yeah, the bronze man comes back around. This is the point where he learned when his life took a turn. You never heard of a comeback like this. He's a fucking king. He's a fucking king. Of you, I'll draw the pain. Hold on, walk to the light, catch by the angels that take flight. Wait away, home. Look down, down onto me, desperate to find the holiest grace. Wait away, home. So that to see you again.
Hold me closer to the brink of destruction.
Bring me back to the light. Take me into the cold. Call me the right place and call me the right time. I hold that promise down like a golden harpoon to the mind and the soul and the heart. I can travel the world, but nothing gets closer when I'm falling over. You pick me up, but I'm back again. Don't ask me how, my love was lost and found. I walk alone, yet nobody hears me. Maybe I'm born to be all alone. My heart grows cold. The space in my fire, but you're too dangerous.
Your counselors, giving you the very thing you needed to stay strong. But at the end of the day, did you really want to be proven wrong again? Your ideology of making things right set you on an egocentric adventure to try and rectify this yourself. But when you know your light has been jaded, do you really know where the right way is deep down?
So you see me